This is NBA Unplugged, brought to you by TheProBasketballPox.com. It's time to talk hoops with Jacob Noble and James Bucklin.
Welcome to NBA Unplugged again. Hello. It's a little odd. We're doing this non-live. First time.
Yeah, this is a little weird.
Long time.
Yeah, usually I feel a little more pressure. Now it's we're just relaxing here, ready to go through a nice laid-back pod. Or apparently not.
Whatever. We can just hush that up for a second. And,
okay, but anyway, welcome everybody to NBA Unplugged. Of course, this is episode number, what is it, 69?
70.
This is number 70. Last week was 69. I just focused on that number for some reason. My name, of course, is James Bucklin, and with me, as always, is the NBA Unplugged veteran, Mr. Jacob Noble.
Yeah, founder here. We started this project a long time ago, and we have no guests today. We didn't want any guests today because we have to record it today because I hear you're doing something very fun tomorrow. Yeah. I have something very fun to do tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll be at a couple of events, so we needed to record this today because we don't want to go a week without people getting their Unplugged fix. That would not be a service to our audience.
Consistency. So, in light of what happened last episode where we lost the mic halfway through, we had a great segment called True or False.
Right, and that sort of got lost in the shuffle. Technical difficulties kept that from your ears. This week we're going to bring you a full hour of the True or False segment and really hit you with a big time today.
Absolutely. And then also we wanted to point out that we actually attended a movie screening last Friday.
We did.
We saw The Other Dream Team, fantastic flick. I gave it 4 stars.
Out of 5?
4 out of 4.
Oh, nice. Nice.
It was fantastic. We'll start with that. We'll spend a few minutes on it. If you like Bill Walton, you like the Grateful Dead, and you like basketball, this is the movie for you.
Yeah, an unbelievable story of the 1992. Well, really, it's basically about Lithuanian basketball in general. The main focus, I think, is on that 1992 team that won the bronze medal after getting funded by the Grateful Dead. It's an amazing story, obviously, but really, it really spans a whole life of Lithuanian basketball and how important the sport is to the country. It really is an amazing film.
Yeah, it's. If you're not the biggest basketball fan and you want to learn about history, that's what it was about. It was about the USSR and how Lithuania was under their rule and how they liberated themselves, and that's truly where the Grateful Dead came into play here, and it showed how, basketball kind of kept their sanity out there during this tough time.
Oh, it was enormous.
And the thing that caught my attention was, this happened in our lifetime. This isn't something you read in a history book and, you go back to the Holocaust or you go to the World War I. We weren't alive for that.
Yeah, this wasn't what, this 1964 something, happened.
We were alive
this was 1992, 1988. I guess I was 3 years old at that time when the USSR won the gold medal, beat the David Robinson amateur USA team.
Yep.
And that 1988 team from USSR, 4 of the starters were Lithuanians.
Yeah.
So that's what really made it very, very interesting, and sort of the tension that came between Lithuania and USSR, and obviously in 1992 they meet in that bronze medal final. It was an amazing story, and it was really well done, and the fact that Bill Walton was on the commentary was obviously...
brilliant stuff. But the thing that kind of shocked me is it didn't really get much coverage over here because of the Dream Team. The Dream Team was playing in that gold medal game. They weren't expecting to lose, but the fact that so much attention was on that game and not Lithuania versus Russia, that to me was a little shocking. I figured we'd cover that a little more since it's more of a historical event than having a bunch of great basketball players dominating the world.
Yeah, well, on the basketball side of things, obviously 1992, the main story had to be the Dream Team for the simple fact that this was the first time the professionals were competing in the Olympics, and obviously all the best players in the world were meshed together on that squad. But there was so much more at stake for pride, for...
We've got pride. We've got power.
Yeah, for all the reasons that Cool Runnings is a good movie, that was a good documentary, I guess I should say, and that bronze medal game was important.
Oh, absolutely, and one of the great lines we had an LOL moment in the movie theater was when they were talking about coming to America the first time. They were pumped with all the fried chicken they got. They absolutely loved it. They ate up the chicken. They love the shop over here, and what was Arvydas Sabonis so pumped to see? Was it oranges on ice?
Yeah, Arvydas with the fresh fruit on ice. He had not seen that in his homeland. Yeah, they didn't have much in Lithuania, and when they get over to America, and the point guard for that Lithuanian team apparently was buying some things in America and selling them for a lot of profit there back in Lithuania.
Yeah, he was a good peddler over there, a good smuggler.
But very interesting. And
how can you fit more that you can fit into a suitcase? That was a famous line he had, but we won't ruin it all. But to further our Friday night adventures, we then went to an after party where Luke Bonner, Matt Bonner's little bro, was hanging out, with his fams. They were chilling out, and got to meet some, a little small gathering, some cool people. And we got to meet a nice guy who's worked in the NBA front office for 27 years, and he told us some stories over some drinks. So it's a good night overall.
Yeah,
Fun
we'll
time.
have to get Terry on the pod later on so he can tell us some stories. He's got a lot of them. He sure does. And over beers, it was a very fun time. But yeah, Bill Walton, Lithuanian basketball, Grateful Dead, tie-dye jerseys, it's got it all. So if you're into documentaries, that's definitely one you want to look up, especially if you're into basketball. And even if you're not, what are you doing listening to this podcast?
Yeah, well, some people, they're not listening now. They'll listen to tomorrow when we post it. But
right.
I think it's time to start True or False. We about 6
different
minutes in.
energy here, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more somber.
When you're live, there's pressure on you, and you've got the guests coming in. Now it's just
we can always hit pause and just redo this.
No, I would not like to do that at all.
No, we won't.
Keep that energy going. I like the energy that's in here now.
So, as we pointed out, we did a little segment called True or False, and I kind of shouted out to our boy Mo Hamilton that one question on here he's probably going to be very interested in, and I'd love to hear his opinion, which I'm sure everybody in New York's going to have that opinion. But, the whole True or False segment, I said we got to bring it back because they need to hear this. And we were just spouting off the top of our heads last time, and I don't think we realized how deep our questions were when we were doing this, because we were like, wow, we were stumping each other. So it's kind of good. It's kind of like we get to redo this, and we had a whole week basically to think about our questions and even more, in our answers rather. So it's going to be interesting to see what we answer now, and I almost want to go back and try to listen to what we said before and see if our answers change now that we had time to sit down and think about it. So I guess James and I each wrote down some questions, and it's basically just true or false. And it's a statement. I shouldn't say it's a question, but it's a statement, and you just got to say the statement's true or false. So we'll start it up with the number one that I asked him last week that he probably thought was the best one, and I'm sure everyone's going to be debating this, and they have been debating it, is Jeremy Lin will make the All-Star game this year.
It's such a good question. Because of all the reasons that Yao Ming made All-Star teams when he was hurt for the entire year, the same reason that Tracy McGrady made a couple when he was... he started a couple when he was on his because Houston was playing, and because Chinese folks could see the Houston games over there in their home country of China. A lot more viewers with a lot more people equals a lot more votes. They wound up on some All-Star teams that maybe they didn't deserve to be on. Now Jeremy Lin's in Houston. He already has the Chinese eye on him from when he was in New York. They aired a couple of those games when he was blowing up as he was during those couple weeks. And I could only assume that the Rockets will be televising their games in China again with the new Jeremy Lin focus. I honestly think he could probably end up with enough votes to make the team. I still will go with false, though, on that one. One, because I don't want it to happen, because he probably won't deserve it. Maybe he will. If he does deserve it, then more power to him. But Chris Paul's in the Western Conference. If he stays healthy...
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. Exactly. If both those guys stay healthy, one of those should be starting in the All-Star game.
Nash.
And I'm sure there'll be guys that deserve to be in a reserve role better. He's probably not going to make it as a reserve. The only way I see him making it is through getting the votes and being a starter.
Parker. I mean, there's so many better point guards in the league all around, but
and Houston's not going to win a whole lot of games either.
No.
Coaches usually like to take their reserves off of winning teams.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement. He's not going to make it as a reserve. The only way he'd make it is if he was voted in by the billion people in China.
Right.
And we hope it doesn't happen, and I've been advocating to get rid of that rule. I understand the All-Star Game's full of the fans, and it doesn't really mean something. Well, you know what? It does mean something, especially when Jalen Rose has never made an All-Star Game. That means something to him. And he's a little bitter about it, I'm sure. But, he got to drink girly drinks and sit on the beach. So he's not too bummed out. He's got a lot of money, so.
Yeah, I've never been in favor of the fan voting for the All-Star team. I think it should all be picked by the coaches, or maybe pick the starters by the players, and have the coaches pick the reserves. And if you're going to do fan voting, I think you should have to pass a 25-question questionnaire about the NBA that shows that you at least know something in order for your vote to be taken seriously, and then you can go ahead and vote for your All-Stars.
Or, don't put everybody on the ballot. Put the top, statistical leaders in certain categories for those positions, kind of like what the NFL does, Yeah, you can write anybody in, and if a billion people want to write in Jeremy Lin, go for it. But go through that step first. Don't just click a button every day for a month. to get him in.
Well, and not only will you have to click the submit button, but they'll probably have to have you go to that area where you have to type out a word, and the letters you can barely see them, and they blend together, and the words are not really words. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the security checkpoint
the
or whatever.
Security thing,
make sure you are
to
human.
make sure you're a human, exactly. You got to go through that too. So
you got to make sure you're human.
Yeah, I think the questionnaire is a good idea. I'll submit that to David Stern later this month.
I like it.
So I'm going false on that one. What are you going?
I got false too. I said false. You know,
Okay.
I don't want it. It doesn't need to happen. Get him out of my life.
Yeah, I think Chris Paul's popularity ought to let him get over there with or without the
Unless
Chinese
he's suspended
influence.
from flopping, but that's another topic.
Yeah, I think Paul's going to have enough to get him out of that.
And then Tony Parker, Russell
And then,
Westbrook, Steve Nash.
Name about 12 reserves in the West that'll probably be guards over him on that roster.
Even Ty Lawson.
Yeah, he'll be in the mix.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to my first question that I have for you.
I love it.
There's another one that we covered on the last podcast that didn't make it to air on the cutting room floor. The Bobcats will have an even worse win percentage compared to last season.
So you're saying they're going to have a worse season than last year, and I just did the Bobcats preview. I did it, so I know a little bit about the Bobcats right now.
So you better make sure you're consistent with what people read.
True, but I'm not doing predictions on there yet because we still got to do our prediction post. Hopefully next week we'll have our, awards post, and I'm getting out of topic here, and our predictions for records, win loss, and who's going to win it all. But having said that,
keep people involved. I like what you're doing there.
Yeah, I liked what the Bobcats did this year with their draft pick. MKG is a good player. He's going to be fantastic, I think. They got a lot of young talent. They got a rookie coach, so they could have a worse winning percentage, which I think is, 16%. They only won 7 out of 66 games, so let's do a little math here. We got a little calculator going. So they won 10.6% of their games.
It's not good.
So let's take that. And
he's actually putting this into some sort of adding machine. I believe receipts are being printed up.
So they would have to win 9 games to have a better season.
Is that right?
Year. 9 games.
I think your math is flawed.
That's 10.6%. So I'm going to say that is going to be false, that they will win more than 9 basketball games this upcoming season. They have to, by default, right?
Yeah, now I would also go with false on that one. I think that they will win more than that amount, just because there's a bigger sample size. The more games that you play, this season will be 82.
Yep.
The more chances you have to upset somebody. It's not like they're going to be facing a lot of teams and beating them because they're better than them. These are going to be upsets. And with more games, that's more volume, that's more chances to upset somebody. I think that happens more this season, obviously, because there's more games.
Plus, once teams lock down their playoff spots, like we have Miami running away with that division. I mean, there's no one in that division that's really going to contest with them. Atlanta might be the only other playoff team in that division. Washington might have a chance to sneak up in there.
They got some talent.
They got talent, but
tough.
In the end of the day, Miami might be resting starters preparing for playoffs. We see it year after year. So that's a chance to take some games, though.
So can Bismack Biyombo and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist take on Norris Cole and Udonis Haslem?
Don't forget Michael Pittman.
Pittman in the mix.
All right. Now, one of JJ's, or James's rather, favorite player.
Yeah, call me by my born given name,
and
please.
I got to say something nice about this player before we get into the mean stuff about this player. He did play a little wheelchair basketball with the rest of his team the other day with the Wounded Warriors. You got to give him a round of applause for that. Anytime they go out of their way to help out, the fallen soldiers and the wounded soldiers, it's always good. So, despite all the jokes we have about our lovable character Eddy Curry, he did do some goodwill the other day, and got to tip your hat to him. He's in a good organization. We're hoping for the best. Now, having said that, true or false? Eddy Curry will have better statistics than Rasheed Wallace this upcoming season.
Now, I believe when this question was originally asked, it was Rasheed Wallace and Kwame Brown.
It might have been, but we'll change it.
I think that one was easier. I think Kwame was an easier answer than this one, because I honestly don't think either of these guys are going to see many minutes at all this season. I think Rasheed ends up, getting very sparing minutes, maybe even retiring at some point during the season, especially if the Knicks aren't doing well.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I don't see him sticking around very long. I don't see him playing a whole lot anyway. Eddy Curry might not get minutes at all. I mean, he's on a team with a lot of talent, at least in the big guy positions. I don't see him getting many minutes. So, Eddy Curry will have better statistics than Rasheed Wallace.
We can even do total points. Who will score more points in the
season?
Total
points. Eddy Curry will have more total points than Rasheed Wallace. True or false? And
we're going to check out this stuff. We're saving this stuff. This is going on the bulletin board.
Yeah.
End of the year.
And this is why I'm taking it very seriously. I'm going to say false. I think Rasheed finds a way. I don't think Eddy Curry is going to play at all. I think Rasheed, at least for the novelty factor, will find his way into games and probably hit a couple of threes. I don't think Eddy Curry is going to do anything at all. And even though I don't think Eddy Curry is going to do a damn thing, and I don't think Rasheed Wallace is going to do a damn thing, I'll say Rasheed ends up with more points by the end of the season.
Well, I wrote a T down implying that I'm going with true before you said false, which is good. I don't want to agree on everything, so I'll just be the smartest people in the world. So I'm going to go true, and the reason is, as you point out, I don't think Rasheed's going to do a damn thing.
No.
I don't think he's going to do a single thing. He might score 4 points in one game. You know, he's mostly just there for the ride, hanging out in New York, getting his paycheck, his veteran minimum. Eddy Curry is, you know, our buddy Jeff Garcia over at Project Spurs has said some good tweets about him recently. You know, he's getting in shape. He's in a good winning organization. Popovich plays a lot of his players. He does. Duncan's getting older. He's going to need some rest. If Tiago Splitter's not doing what he's doing.
Splitter, Bonner, Blair, Diaw.
Well, Blair's on the bad graces, from what I hear. He's kind of been pushed to the back.
I still think he gets more minutes than Curry.
Oh, absolutely. At least to start.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, Blair's what, 6'8", nada?
No knees.
Yeah, no knees. Curry's, you know, a 6'10", 7-footer. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But going back to the Kwame Brown thing, I agree. Kwame's probably would combine. That should be the next one. Would Kwame Brown combine?
I'd still probably take Kwame. See, if I was guessing an exact number and trying to get it right on how many points each of these guys would score, I'd probably put Rasheed Wallace on the season at maybe 30 points. Eddy Curry, I might predict 0, and I think I'd probably end up being right. I don't think he scores a point this season.
Single point.
Nope.
The first bucket he scores, I'm tweeting that photo to you.
Please do, and I'll retweet it. I'll retweet it to everybody.
How about this? If Eddy Curry scores more than 300 points this season, you got to get his San Antonio Spurs jersey.
I'll get an Eddy Curry San Antonio if he scores more than 300 points this season.
300 points.
I'll take that. Put that on the board.
He's got to score 3.6 points per game.
Oh, done. Done right now. That's not happening. I will personally purchase an authentic Eddy Curry Spurs jersey.
From NBA.com.
From NBA.com directly. I'll send a letter to David Stern and have him send it to my house. Eddy Curry jersey from the San Antonio Spurs if he scores 300
points. You might be the first one.
Over 300 points.
Over.
If it's 300, it's a push.
It's a push.
Okay.
And then he's got to buy you a jersey for being awesome.
Yeah, I will tweet Eddy Curry. He'll have to get a Stoughton Black Knights James Bucklin number 43 jersey from my high school days.
I like it. People are like, who the hell are the Black Knights? Oh, man. All right, next question.
I like now that we have this GarageBand set up and we're just recording it, not on Blog Talk, we can see sort of our audio waves, and I can see that's you there. Maybe you got about an inch on you. I'm rocking about 3 inches length on my wave. So maybe I either need to tone it down or you need to talk louder.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Well, maybe because the mic's facing that way.
I do get close to the
mic.
Yeah, there you go.
True. Maybe this is helping. I don't know. I mean, I'm no Stone Cold E.T., but I am me.
White Castle Burgers.
All right, what's next on the Gary Slate?
Oh, okay. What I have here is true or false. Kevin Durant wins the scoring title.
That's a tough one. Because I got Michael Beasley very highly ranked.
Wow. Not much other scoring on the Suns. You may be doing well.
Yeah, no. I got to go true. And the reason is because I don't think LeBron's obviously going to contend. So I want to say that before I say my next sentence. I think his scoring is going to take a little bit of a dip because he's not going to have to do as much. He's got more scorers. He's got more shooters. And without a true point guard on that team still, he's going to be looking to be a facilitator. And that's what he's always wanted to be. He's never wanted to be a scorer. He wants to rebound. He wants to play some D. He wants to pass the ball. And then he wants to score last. And that's been the knock on his career. So I do think Kevin Durant, who's a more natural scorer, and he's been getting dirty on his three-pointers more and more. They just look so wet, and, you know, he's shooting.
He looks great.
He looks amazing. So I think that might be probably the easiest true and false question we have here. I'm going to have to go true.
True is the easy answer here. False, you know, it's Kevin Durant versus the field. If you're a gambling man,
you take the field.
Sometimes you take the field. I might even still go true just because I think he does take it. I don't know who really contends with him. Like, you have LeBron there. Does Derrick Rose make it back from injury in time to be eligible? If so, the Bulls might be playing some catch-up. He may have to do some extra scoring.
Yeah.
I think he could possibly contend if he's in enough games. I don't even know who else contends at that point, really.
Yeah.
Kobe's not really the volume scorer he once was, and plus he's got a whole crap ton of talent on his team.
Yeah, Kobe's not going to score as much. Kevin Love, he's out.
He's
out 4 to 8 weeks.
He's out for 4 to 8 weeks with a broken right hand.
How did he break his hand when he went with his arm? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
He slept on it wrong. There's something fishy with that.
Like the next guy to contend with Kevin Durant is his teammate Russell Westbrook. So maybe I do actually just go with true here and not overthink it.
And maybe Wade's not going to do it. Melo has a chance. Aldridge could. He's the only one out there. He's going to have to take 100
Brandon
shots
Jennings gets hurt. You might see Monte Ellis score 40 a game.
Oh, we might.
But yeah, I think I'm actually just going to buckle down and go true on this one. I'm taking Kevin Durant over the field.
Yeah, it makes sense. Most people do it.
It's not exactly taking the field over Tiger. I think it's a little more safe than that one.
Exactly.
But sometimes take Tiger.
Yeah, sometimes
Back
you do.
in the day, anyway. Nowadays, you can just take the field.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk golf betting.
We're not?
No, this isn't golf betting unplugged.
You are wearing your Sunday red on.
Yeah, I'm ready to tee off.
Are you ready to tee off for this next question?
Oh, tee it off for me.
This question's for you, Moke, and I'm going to make sure you hear this segment.
Drive it right on.
And I'll throw Tommy D out there, too, because we got our Knicks buddy and we got our Nets buddy.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets will win more games than the New York Knicks this upcoming season, regular season. They're going to win more games in the regular season. True or false?
I'm going to say false. I think the Knicks win more games. The Nets get a lot of moving pieces. You bring in Joe Johnson. You bring in some of the other talent they've got there. They're in a new city. Things are a little different. Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire have now been together for a decent amount of time.
2 years almost?
Yeah, they've played with each other. I'm sorry about that. They have played on the same team for a little while now. They've got a good chemistry going, and they've got something to prove this year. And they've brought in some veterans, a lot of them. They're the oldest team in the history of the NBA. I think Jason Kidd helps both players. I think that Tyson Chandler is still one of the better defensive players in the entire league. And I think that the Knicks probably end up winning more games. Like I said, something to prove. They'll be a playoff team. The Nets will probably... It's going to be close. I can just tell you that right now. But I think I go Knicks on this one.
I'm going to have to go true. And the reason I go true is because I like the 2 stars in Brooklyn over the 2 stars in New York.
And when you say 2 stars, who are you putting with Darren Williams there?
Joe Johnson.
Okay.
By far.
All right.
He's...
Well, Shaq said that Brooke Lopez was better than Dwight
First
Howard.
Off, do we want me talking about Brooke Lopez right now? I need to dedicate a podcast on why I dislike Brooke Lopez, which is kind of funny that I'm picking true here, because as much as I dislike Brooke Lopez, I do like the roster they put together. I like Gerald Wall. To me, they have more roles. They have more purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Johnson might lead the team in scoring, because Darren's not going to have to. He's going to be more facilitator. Gerald Wallace is going to do the dirty work on defense, and they got a rebound machine in Chris Humphries, and Brooke Lopez is going to do his 18 and 6 rebounds a game. His typical stats if he's healthy. Their bench also improved. They got guys like Reggie Evans, and I also like the coaching better in in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I like the coaching better. I'm an Avery Johnson fan. I always have been. I liked what he did in Dallas. I thought he didn't get a fair shot after they kicked him to the curb. But I like him, and players seem to play well with him. Not saying people don't play well with Mike Woodson, but we've seen what Mike Woodson done with talent.
He has underachieved.
Yeah. So,
but I like the Knicks bench better than I like the Brooklyn bench.
They're gonna have I can see that, but
I think the Knicks have more shooters, more scorers. But
to me, they have more old people who are gonna get injured. And outside of Iman Shumpert, I'm not really sold on the bench on the Knicks.
Really?
Camby's, they are what they are at 38, 39, 40 years old. Rasheed Wallace, you just talked about, we'd be lucky to see him score a bucket.
Smitty.
J.R. Smith is interesting. He's the interesting factor. So he can score 50 in a night, and he can go 0 for 10 with 13 turnovers.
Novak's money all day.
That's true. Forgot about Novak.
Yeah.
But, you got Josh Childress.
Raymond Felton and Jason Kidd splitting time at the 1. That's a pretty nice...
Not sold on Pat Felton.
Oh, no, I don't like Raymond Felton either. But as far as compared to other backup point guards in the NBA, I think he ranks pretty high.
I will say this. The style of play the Knicks need, or I should say the style of play that Carmelo Anthony needs, he needs the ball in his hand. The game stops when he's out in the court. It just seems to slow down. He has the ball. Everyone's standing and watching Carmelo to make decisions. And then, granted, he's saying all the right things this year. He said all the right things last year. He said he's going to play defense. I didn't see any defense from him last year. I just think that the Nets are going to, kind of shock people with how good they're going to be. And that's my opinion. I as much as I don't like Darren Williams as a person, I think he's a terrible person, what he did in Utah. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, well, you put someone in a, rivaling position with Jerry Sloan in Utah, his image isn't going to come off very well.
No. They spent a lot of money, but I think they're going to win a lot of games. I think both teams are going to be in the playoffs, obviously. They're both going to be good squads. They both aren't there yet in the Miami terms. But I like the Nets to win more games.
I honestly think Carmelo Anthony is better when the ball is not in his hands.
I agree.
And you probably agree with that, but the ball does end up in his hands a lot. I think when Jason Kidd's on the floor, you're going to see him play off the ball a little more, and I think that will help him a lot. I mean, when is the best time you've ever seen Carmelo Anthony play basketball?
It was when he was with George Karl, actually, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, not in
Team USA.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In international play.
True.
And it may be against not as great competition, but also it's because he's able to come off of others.
He's a fantastic
player.
And
a lot of those times he was playing with Jason Kidd.
He's a fantastic player, but there's a style of play that a coach needs to develop the rest of the team around. You got to build around Melo.
And is Woodson that guy?
I don't think so. We had a guy like that in Joe Johnson, and then that's how we got the nickname ISO Joe. Playing under Mike Woodson.
Well, that's why it was a great question, because we had two different answers, and I'm sure Moke Hamilton would agree that it's tough.
Yeah, well, I just want to say one more thing about Stone Cold Moke. I do want to say one more thing on Melo. His best year with George Karl was when he had the 10-10-10 rule. I want you to score 10 points from inside the paint. I want you to get to the line 10 times, and I want you to take 10 shots. And that was when he was most efficient. He was very efficient, exactly. So if Melo gets, falls in love with shooting, then we're gonna have some issues. But hopefully he's saying the right things. You got to do the right things. It's like a politician, They say the right things. Show me the right things.
I think Carmelo Anthony's primed for a huge season.
He has to be.
Really do.
Has to be. It's long overdue.
Okay, next one's on my side, I believe.
Yep, Antoine Jameson will not be the MVP of the league. I'm just going to get that out there.
Nope, it's actually regarding the MVP, though. Will LeBron James be the MVP? I'm sorry that I'm just rattling off awards at you, but these are good questions.
They're fantastic questions. I'm going to say false, and the reason is it seems like the voters, and we got to get votes. So we got to work on that. We got to call David, get our votes in there.
Right. We'll get on that ballot eventually.
It seems like the voters get sick of the same guy.
Derrick Rose.
Exactly. And I think...
I don't know. Maybe he did deserve
he did.
That one,
they overachieved dramatically. The best record in the league, the best defense in the league. He was the best player by far. The second best player on the team was, a third or fourth best on anybody. But we're not here to talk about Derrick Rose because he's not going to be in the league for a couple more months with his injury. But the reason I say false is because I think it's time that the media goes to their sweetheart. And the sweetheart's going to be the scoring title champ and Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. I think this is the year that if him and LeBron are neck and neck in scoring and stats and wins, I see them leaning towards Kevin Durant. I really do. I see that they're just going to give it to him. But, we're basing our decision on the MVP on emotions of writers, which is kind of funny.
This is sort of based on what other people think and other people's perceptions, which is absolutely impossible to predict. An easier question would be, will LeBron be the best player in the NBA this season? And it'd probably be an easy answer, true. At least in my mind. Will LeBron win the MVP is definitely a different question. And we talked about one guy against the field. I think I'm also going to say false here and take the field. Obviously, Durant is the other front runner.
Or Ben Kinne's favorite guy.
Rajon Rondo, I think, is a legitimate MVP candidate. If the Celtics win a whole ton of games, same with the Knicks. If they improve their record dramatically, I think Carmelo garners a lot of attention there.
Yeah. I mean,
the Heat will win a lot of games. They have even more talent than they did last season. Does that make LeBron's numbers go up or down? Maybe the scoring numbers take a hit. I think assists and rebounds might even go up.
Well, because he's going to be playing a 4 and 5 more so. They don't really have a.
And don't sleep on Chris Paul for the MVP either.
Don't. I mean, if he leads the league in assists and he's up in top 10 scoring, and the Clippers are.
It's another guy who's probably deserved one for a while and has never gotten one. So, like you said, they like to rotate some different guys in instead of giving it to the same guy each year. I think Chris Paul may end up with one this year as well.
Don't sleep on Boogie Cousins either.
No, I think he has a big season, but maybe not the MVP.
I can't wait to meet him out in Denver. We'll have the best time with Boogie. Hope you're ready, Boogie. We're coming for you.
Boogieing down with him.
Oh, I hope I'm boogieing down with him. I'll teach him how to Dougie in the locker room. All right, write your answers down. We got to keep these down.
Oh, sorry about that. We both went with false.
No, I went true.
You went true?
Oh, no, I did go false.
Yeah, you went false. You went with Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant's going to win that title. All right, this is a more fun question. More serious question. More fun. True or false? The Minnesota Timberwolves will have 5 white guys on the court at one time this season.
Well, let's map this out here. Ricky Rubio. Well, now we know that Kevin Love won't show up for a little while, so that's going to be a problem. Pekovic. We're going to have that at the 5. Andrei Kirilenko, correct?
AK-47.
Kirilenko. This might just be their starting lineup. And the big question here is shooting guard. Is Luke Ridnour still in that roster?
Well, what's going on with the white guys? They have Lou Amundsen.
Oh, J.J. Barea. Oh, this is an easy true. That's an easy true.
Luke Ridnour, Alexei Shved,
Yeah,
Greg
the
Steamer.
Steamer. Yeah, that's an easy true.
So they got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I could probably map out about 5 different depth chart lineups they could put out there.
10 white guys are going to be on this roster.
Oh, that's an easy true.
They might. Now, I guess I should change that question to. I'm going to go true too, by the way, because we looked at the roster.
Will
the
there
other
be
day.
a 5-guy starting lineup? Maybe, or did you have a different way that you were going to modify that question?
I was going to say, is this the whitest team in NBA history, including the early 50s teams where...
Well, we'll have to see where the cuts come in. This is not the final roster here. There's going to be some cuts there.
There's got to be cuts.
So you could lose the Steamer. I don't know if you could lose it. Probably not Barea or Budinger and Amundsen. Those guys are making the team.
Yeah.
Kirilenko's in love, and Pekovic obviously will be on the team.
Shved's making it. Well, they could go to D-League, you know.
Yeah. You could lose Shved to the D-League. You might lose Steamsma to the team altogether. But still, you're going to have a pretty good percentage rate there.
It's a guaranteed contract, too. This would be kind of...
The Steamer?
Yeah, I got a, 2-year deal, something like that?
Yeah, still...
$3 million or something?
They've got some moves to make, but there are some of these guys that I can see you can just knock right off. Chris Johnson's never been consistent.
Well, you got to think, they're going to put...
Jermaine Taylor's
they're going to put love on the IR.
They're
going to put love on the IR for the first 2 months. You know, first month, whatever the case may be. So, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. Oh, they're paying Steamsma $2.5 million this year.
Wow, that's unbelievable to me.
Steams, congrats, Steams. You deserved it.
Good contract for you, Greg. I don't know about for Minnesota Timberwolves. So you probably won't get cut if they're that high on him.
No, they'll get rid of Malcolm Lee instead. But yeah, so that was a fun question.
Yeah, easy true.
Easy true.
Yep. Okay, this is a bit of an audible. I just wrote this down after the podcast had already started, actually, just because I was thinking about guys. Getting my thoughts in there. I probably sound like John Gruden waxing poetic about Peyton Manning right now.
I was just thinking about guys.
I was just thinking about Peyton Manning, the way he throws up. This guy right here, Andre Drummond. Anyway, Drummond, he has shown some highlights throughout this preseason. I think he's up for a big rookie season, making some big old high-flying plays. Will he be number 1 on 5 different SportsCenter top 10s throughout the season?
5. And that's a daily award, right? Top 10s daily?
Right.
I'm going to have to go false. And the reason I say false is because I have no faith in anybody else besides the Twin Towers in Detroit. Who's going to throw him the ball? Now, he might make 5 not top 10 plays. But I'm going to go false.
I'm going to say true. He's been throwing it down. He had a couple of plays in one of the preseason games I watched of them, where he was windmilling.
They got to have Blake Griffin on, at least 3 of them every day.
True, and LeBron James.
Yeah,
okay. I might change the
no.
Will he deserve 5?
Yes, he deserves 5. However,
if LeBron gets on any fast break whatsoever, it's number 1.
I'm changing my answer. I'm going to go true. And the reason I'm going true, no hockey. One sport out of competition for the top 10 plays.
Fair enough. That's decent. I like that. And football is only on, 3 times a week now. Yeah. But, and not... Now you've got me rethinking things. But, like you said, Blake Griffin and LeBron James sort of dominate that top spot. They don't even have to do something that impressive.
There's no police in Detroit.
A guy like J.J. Barea could do an NBA Jam Tournament Edition 13 flip dunk that goes halfway through the arena, and he still would get the number 2 because LeBron James caught an alley-oop from Dwayne Wade and then put a stern face on after. Yeah, Jacob did the motion right there.
You know what? See, because it's number 1. He'll make the list many times.
Yeah.
But will it be number 1 5 times?
Yeah, I think 5 times.
5 times, not 6.
Yeah, I probably will end up changing my answer to false on
not
that
4,
one.
5 times. All right, yeah, no, I'll go false too. I mean, we'll stick to false.
Okay.
We'll get some F's on that. Oh man. Now, going back to old people for a second.
Great.
My question to you: true or false? Jason Kidd will retire after the season.
Wow. He's getting up there, and he's had a hell of a career. One of my all-time favorite players, Jason Kidd.
It's right there.
Lego version of him on the... What team do we have him
Nets.
on?
Of course,
on
the
Nets. Yep, that was
probably
his best years. He did end up getting that ring with Dallas, but obviously the 2 finals he made it to with the Nets were his his best seasons. And those teams actually were not that good, but that was very weak Eastern Conference.
Yeah. Kenyon Martin and Richard Jefferson. You don't want to go
Keith
bragging
Van
around
Horn and Kerry Diddles, your boy.
He was deserving.
Todd McCulloch was the center, or maybe for them and Philadelphia during that time.
You did what you had to then.
Jason Kidd, I think, will probably play one more year after this one. I'll say he plays one more. It all depends on what the Knicks do. I think if they're really bad, he retires. I think if they're really, really good and make a real strong run at it, he might retire after that, being satisfied with himself. I think he's still got the game to play for two more, and I think because of that, he will.
I'm going to say there's a reason why I'm going false, and there's one reason only. There's only been 3 players in NBA history who have played 20 NBA seasons. That is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, played exactly 20, and then the 2 leaders are Robert Parrish and Kevin Willis, who played 21 seasons apiece. Jason Kidd's at 19 this year. This is his 19th NBA season. So go sit on a bench one more year and get that 20. Get
that guy.
Get the 20. Get the 2 decades.
And a lot of guys, if they play for a long time, will say, I'd like to go home and spend time with my family. I want to see my kids.
He doesn't want to go see that kid.
I'm not going home to that house. Put me on the road.
Get me out of here.
Let me talk to the ladies out here. I'm 40 and going strong, looking good in the NBA.
I don't even need to go inside the 3-point arc anymore. I just go 3-line to 3-line.
Yeah.
That's my game.
I think he continues to play.
It's like the fat kid that picked up basketball. It just doesn't go inside, and you're like, why are you even on this court? You can't shoot threes.
Yeah.
You play zero defense, and you can barely catch up to the game.
No, he'll make a living being the best rebounding point guard in the game and throwing full court baskets at guys for dunks.
Yep, and have an odd-shaped head. Winner,
and he has increased his three-point shooting game as of late.
Year.
And he's number 3 all-time on the made threes list?
He might be.
It goes Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, and I believe Jason Kidd's that number 3. So, and he's nowhere near the other 2, but I think now, more than ever, he's improved his three-point shooting games where you can't really leave him open anymore.
Well,
he's still a very effective basketball player.
He is number 3, and number 4 is Jason Terry. Wow. Would you look at that?
Well, you have to remember when the three-point line was inducted into the league. So the field is cut a little short.
Was it late 70s, was it?
I'm not sure of the exact date. But
79-80 season.
But yeah, you're cutting out a lot of players there from contention. Like, as you see, number 49 on this list is David freaking Wesley. He shouldn't be on any all-time list in the top 50. So
Terrell Sprewell's number 50.
So it's not the most impressive thing in the world saying that you're number 3 in three-pointers all-time. He was never really a great three-point shooter for his career, but he's become more effective as of late. And I think that he's molded his game so that he can survive in the league for longer.
31, and Joe Johnson's 30. Mookie Blaylock. Oh, this list is fantastic.
We'll have to post this on the site
Antoine
later.
Walker, number 22.
Yeah, he's also number 1 on attempts, probably.
Oh, probably. Oh, hold on, we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm sure they have that available on Wikipedia as well. The internet is really a...
Well, I just tried to sort it. What's this? Who are you? Let's see what Antoine Walker's attempts are. Where was he? What number? Antoine Walker. No, he's not even close. He only's got 42.64.
Well, he's above all the guys above him. He's got more than Jamal Crawford or Brent Barry.
Not Kobe.
Michael Finley. No, Kobe's taking more shots than everybody.
Well, go up to here. Ray Allen's taking 67.88.
Well, that's his game.
That's his game.
Antoine Walker should have stayed in the post. He was really a very good post player, very good position rebounder, but he just never could stop taking those threes. But who knows? Maybe Antoine comes back for another season like he's trying to do since he spent all his money.
So here's the attempts. Attempts is basically on par with made.
Yeah.
Rashard Lewis is up there. He's taking a lot of threes. Paul Pierce, number 9. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Wow, Pierce is taking a lot. Not a good percentage, but hey, Kobe's even worse percentage at 33.7%. All right, so keep going to
we went off on a tangent there about Jason Kidd and then on three-point shooting all time.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, but I say that he sticks around for at least one more after this one. Moving on, the next one I have for you, Mr. Noble. True or false? Brandon Jennings will average 6.5 or more assists.
I'm gonna go false.
Yeah, he was only 5.5 last season.
I'm going to go false because his sidekick tends to make basketball plays before going to the basket. So he's not really generating assists for Brandon Jennings. Monta's going to take it, drive to the lane, and you don't get assists for that.
No.
I think it's one dribble.
Monta does create his own shot very well.
Exactly. So it's going to be kind of like a dump the ball to Monta, let him do what he has to do. They don't really have an inside presence of the score there. There's no pick and roll game there in Milwaukee.
Drew Gooden's not going to do it for you.
Drew Gooden's not going to do it for me. Sam Dallenberg is going to set a lot of picks, but they're going to be doing a lot of high screens to create their offense, I believe. I don't think they're going to be a traditional pick and roll, big man, small man to get those lobs, assists. So I'm going to have to go false on that one.
Yeah, I'm going false as well, for all the reasons that you stated, as well as they're still going to have some chemistry issues, I think, between Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis. It's the same thing as it was with Stephen Curry and Monte Ellis in Golden State. That storyline has just been carried over to Milwaukee, and nothing's changed. And also the fact that Brandon Jennings really isn't that great of a passer. So I'll say he's under 6.5 assists per game. And so that's another false. We agree on that one.
Okay, the next question is, because I'm out of questions, so now I'm coming up with a new one.
Sure.
Bynum will play more than 50 games. Andrew Bynum, Philadelphia 76ers, in case you don't know anything.
Andrew Bynum, Philadelphia 76ers center. What was the figure you gave me? 50?
Will he play more than 50 games? True or false?
I'll say true. I think he's going to be inspired to show the Los Angeles Lakers that they lost the best center in the NBA. I think he'll be inspired to show the Philadelphia 76ers fan base that he's committed to them. I think he'll be inspired to win games for that franchise.
He's very inspired.
And put himself on them. Because if there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. Some players take games off when they're hurt. Some only take games off when they're injured. I think he'll be playing more hurt games than he normally would because he has a lot to prove. So that's why I say it's true. He'll play more than 50.
I'm gonna have to go. You know what? I think you talked me into going true. I want to say false because he gets hurt every year.
Yeah,
we got the story about the knee injections where it's not healthy to get knee injections every couple months. That means you have no cartilage in your knees. And the one thing we learned about knees is when they go, they go. Ask Grant Hill. I mean, they go, they go. You don't really get to control that. But having said that, I think this is the year he'll muscle through it. And then I think the next couple of seasons he'll stop back down to his 40 games. And, he'll become the Yao Ming of the 76ers.
Yeah, but see, he's the guy now. In Los Angeles,
Evan Turner does not appreciate you saying those words.
Well, Meatwad is I don't think he's on the level yet of an Andrew Bynum. But that being said, this is his time to shine as the best player on his team. Kobe would always overshadow him in Los Angeles, and even Pau Gasol to a certain degree. And that was why I would say now this is the season for him to show, I'm the man here, I'm the best player, I'm one of the best centers in the league, if not the best. Let me show this to you by playing a lot of games and being consistent. On the other hand, he could just have another horrible injury and miss most of the season. I'm not saying that he is not an injury-prone guy. We're just making predictions here.
So we do best.
Next on the docket, I'll go with another injury-related question here.
I like injury-related questions.
Especially on a prediction podcast where we'll predict something that you couldn't possibly predict. Either Rudy Gay or Zach Randolph will get injured for a significant amount of time.
Either or. That's a good question.
They haven't really both been healthy for a full season yet.
Well, the whole situation with those two players is it's not related to injuries. It's related to when they are together, something just doesn't work out well.
Yeah, Memphis seems to be a better team when one of them is not on the court. That's the huge storyline.
But if I had to guess, I'm going to say Zach Randolph will get hurt. I don't see Rudy getting hurt. I think Rudy's inspired to really turn it up a notch.
There's that word again.
Inspired. This is an inspired podcast. Brought to you by Nike. No, we're actually brought to you by Reebok, everybody. I'm going to have to go with true because I think that Zach Randolph will get hurt. I mean, he's a big guy. Tends to get hurt a lot. I mean, I'm just basing this off nothing. I'm going to go true.
And it's injured too, not suspended.
Oh, man. Well, no, he's done with the suspensions.
Yeah.
All right, throw me in for true.
He's grown up.
Throw me in for true. What do you got?
I'm sorry. I'm going to say false just because I want it to be false, because I love that storyline of those two not being able to coexist and Memphis winning games more when one of them's out. I want to see them both play together and hopefully work well together so I can really see the potential of that Memphis Grizzlies team because there's so much talent there and I want them to hit their peak and it's just been unable to happen. But you think about that starting lineup, the possibilities. Michael Conley, you got Tony Allen you could start at the 2.
Yep.
And they've got some other options as well, some scorers on the bench. You've got Rudy Gay at the 3, Zach Randolph at the 4, and don't forget about Big Marc Gasol holding down the 5, a very solid big man. I love that team. Put that team on the court for me.
I loved them last year.
To be in the last 4 teams left in the West. But Like we've talked about, those injuries have hurt them. I'm going to say false for no other reason than I want them both to be healthy.
I like it. You're doing it for once. All right, my next question. I'm trying to jump around the league here, pick different teams, and get everybody involved. I mean, you want your team involved in this True and False segment. It's the best segment in the history of podcasting. Actually, probably second to The Good Son. That was a fantastic podcast.
Yeah, go back and see that. Bozos of Basketball. Oh, you can't really see it. Bozos of Basketball, The Good Son podcast of positions. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, moving on. David Lee will average more rebounds per game than his counterpart in Andrew Bogut. Now, it's average, not total, so even though Bogut might miss some time, end of season average.
True. I think David Lee is a guy who he's a volume rebounder. He'll pick him up. He's the type of guy where his counterpart will box the best rebounder of the team out, and he'll end up getting that rebound.
He averaged 9.5 last year.
Yeah, he's always among the tops in rebounding statistics. But when Bogut plays, he also has that potential to be a double-digit rebounder. But you've seen David Lee put up, what was it? He had that 30-20-10 triple-double game. Do you remember that one? He's a guy who's capable of putting up 20-25 rebounds if he has a blow-up game. And I think that puts David Lee over the edge, so I say true.
I'm going to go false.
You want Bogut on this one?
I'm going to go Bogut, and the reason I say that is because I think with Bogut in the lineup, David Lee's going to have to play a little bit further away from the basket. I think if you have both of them down there, it's going to be a lot of clutter. And although Stephen Curry's good at stretching the court, I still think they're going to ask David Lee to kind of play that mid-range game a little bit.
Stretch four?
Yeah, he's going to have to, because, he's still going to run in to get tons of weak side rebounds. He's still going to, fly in. But I think Bogut's going to be eating up those rebounds on that. Or at least I hope so. I've been a big Bogut fan for a while. I hope he gets his knees together, and I hope he rebounds a lot of basketballs in Golden State.
It could be a little different for him if the Warriors finally commit to defense like Mark Jackson has been trying to preach since he got there. They tried to last season. Didn't work out. They were the same team. If they finally do it this year with the personnel change, you get Bogut healthy, hopefully. Monte's gone. And they have the personnel to possibly try to give a shot at being a defensive team, or at least someone who is respectable in the defensive end. I think if they really make that shift in the way they operate, you could see a different season for David Lee. Because, honestly, we have not seen him in an offense that wasn't on a team that wasn't an offense-powered, up-tempo, up-and-down-the-court kind of team. When he was on the Knicks, that was the case, and he was putting up those ridiculous numbers there. Same thing with the Warriors. So we haven't really seen him on a defensive squad, so things could change him. So I see where you're coming from there. I still go with true. David Lee's just a guy who picks up a lot of rebounds, and Bogut has been inconsistent at times.
Yeah, fair points.
All right, moving on. Okay. Here's one for you. This is a guy who he plays in this area that we operate in, the Boston area.
Do I have his Lego?
Yep, I see it right here. I'm going to grab the Lego, bring him up, and put him on the microphone while we do this question.
That's probably what we should have done, put him on the mic.
And can you read off the number there?
It's number 9, and the jersey's a little green, and it's CELTICS?
This man plays for the Boston Celtics. His name is Rajon Rondo, number 9. My question to you, and this is a very high number. I'm setting this high. Triple-doubles in the season. Now, this is regular season and playoffs.
Ooh.
Rajon Rondo will have 10.
Oh, wow.
It's a big number for triple-doubles.
How many did he have last year in the postseason? 5?
Yeah, he had a lot. I don't know about the specific figures.
Well, I don't...
Pull up his game log while we're chatting this one out.
I think, if I remember correctly, he only has 11 career.
Now, is that regular season or is it playoffs?
I think, no, career. I think it's everything. Nobody has more triple-doubles than Rondo since the 2008-2009 season at 20. So 10 is a high number. I'm going to go false. I'm going to go under it. Because he has 20 for his career. And this article was written on May 5th. So actually, you got to add a little more. It's probably like 26 now with those. Let's do this.
Now you're rethinking things. Like I said, pull up that game log. I think we got to do that.
Oh man, this is intense. I I don't know. We got to find this because I can't Google this.
That's what I'm saying. Go to the game log.
I think he has 9
Forget
total.
about this Wikipedia
just
crap.
last year?
Go to his game log from last year.
We'll go to his game log.
We'll kind of look it down.
Rondo fell.
Yeah. And you can edit out some of the silent shit later.
We can't edit anything out. We're just gonna let this go. We don't hide behind our mistakes. We embrace them.
Well, I shouldn't have used that word then. I only used that because I knew that you were going to edit it. But
oh no, we are not a children podcast.
Okay.
Oh, game logs. We're going to game logs. Andrew Bogut, get out of here. You're done. We're done with you. You're not allowed anymore.
Yeah, I'm also going to go false on this one just so I can sort of get this off my chest. But I think that it's possible. He has a knack for getting them these days, and especially when he's the guy who's putting up all the numbers for the team. You see Pierce fading off. You see Garnett fading off. Ray Allen's no longer there. They did bring in a lot of talent, but I think his assist numbers go up this year, and I think his point numbers go up this year. Rebounds will probably stay the same. I don't see that changing all that much because obviously they've still got guys who can rebound the basketball. Bass, Sullinger, Garnett, of course. So but I do see him having more opportunities to get triple doubles, and that's why I set this bar very high for him. But I'm still going to say false and say goes under because 10 is a ridiculous amount of triple doubles on a season.
It's absolutely insane. He has 26 career triple doubles. He got 6 in the postseason last year.
So you add 6 to the postseason next year.
I mean, but he has to be that type of player. He has to be that guy for the Celtics to even have a chance. So yeah, I'll go with false. Even though I want it to happen, I hope it happens, but we'll be a little realistic. So while we research that, we'll keep moving on. We don't want to have any dead air here. My next question to you is anyone but Dwight, meaning the field versus Dwight. The field will lead the league in rebounds.
Yeah, if you put them all together.
No. Anybody but Dwight will lead the league in rebounds.
I know what you mean. False.
So you got Dwight taking on that crown.
Dwight will win the rebounding crown, but with Pau Gasol now on his side, it could be a little different because Gasol does rip down some boards himself.
He does. But
Dwight is just a monster. He usually does lead the league in rebounds, but Kevin Love will be in the mix. Of course, now we know he's injured, so his future for rebounding could be a little in question. Mm-hmm. But I think Dwight Howard's still probably the best rebounder in the NBA, the toughest body to handle, the strongest guy, the biggest bully, even if he does have a smile on his face. I think he ends up winning the rebounding title again.
You know what? I'm going to go true. I tried looking around for names who I thought would do that, but it didn't do it to me. Rajon Rondo has a career, I think we found it now, because his last game was on, his last triple-double was in the loss against Miami. Rajon Rondo has a career of 23 triple-doubles. And you ready for this, James?
Yeah.
Last year, he had 10.
Whoa! That's counting regular season playoffs?
Oh, yep. Look at that. So the 4 playoff games are right here. He had 4 in the playoffs and 6 in the regular season. The year before, he had 4.
Well, I guess I said it the perfect number then without even knowing. 10's a lot. I didn't realize he had that many. That's pretty remarkable.
Put it this way, Pierce has 7 for his career.
And Rondo had 10
in last season.
So now, maybe we're rethinking this.
We're going back to this one. I'm going to still go false. As much as I know he's going to improve, as much as I know he's going to keep doing what he does, I still have to go false.
Etch me down for true. I think he ends up with more than he did last season.
Ooh, I like it.
He's gonna have 11 triple doubles this season.
I like it. I like your optimism. All right, you're up next. I have the Dwight one. We got about 6 minutes left of this pod.
And who's leading the league in rebounding if not Dwight Howard? Just so we have you on record.
Boogie Cousins. No.
Hey, I don't hate that answer. I think he's in for a huge year.
I would say Kevin Love because he's just a gobbler, but missing the average-wise he might do it. Totals he won't, obviously, with missing 4 to 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. Kevin Love could do it.
Dwight's got his back injury. You never know with him, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we don't have time for many more here. We're about reaching the end of this hour, so let's just bang out these last couple ones. This is related to the New Orleans Hornets rookie Anthony Davis.
Yep, what about him? What do you want to know?
He will win the Rookie of the Year.
This is the worst one of all. Because I think I wanted to say true just so I'm right, but I hope I'm not right. And it has nothing against
Because it's a boring answer.
It's just so boring. I'd obviously love to see a rando get it. Some kind of guy just, tears up. Like Deion Waiters. Why can't Deion Waiters win the Rookie of the Year? But no. Or Thomas Robinson. Everyone's
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. I'm going to say true. He's just going to... He means so much to that organization where all the other guys are kind of going into teams that have superstars. Sorry, Eric Gordon. But teams that have superstars and established, rosters. He's going into a franchise that, hey, here it is, yours.
Yep.
Take it.
And we've seen the numbers he's capable of putting up with NBA talent. We've seen in the preseason already. He's had some monster
USA
games.
Basketball.
He was on that team, and
he's got a lot of experience.
Highly touted by every scout possible, drawing comparisons to guys like Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett. He's going to be absolutely special, which is why I would also answer true.
Oh, yeah.
Just to be right, not to... But I also think he's going to have a real great career, and I look forward to it. So I also want him to win it, too.
Oh, me too.
Unibrow's my boy.
Yeah. Well, I hope Bradley Beal does it.
But he's got the John Wall factor.
Yep.
Who will take a lot of his touches away, and he'll have to play off the ball. And so he probably won't have the scoring numbers that he'd like to have this season as a rookie, but I'm sure he'll get there. He's a very, very talented kid.
Next question is going to take us to Dallas. So Mark
Let's go to Dallas.
Mark Cuban's going to listen to this. We get about 4 more minutes for the show. Dirk Nowitzki will lead the Dallas Mavericks in scoring this year. I know who you're thinking about because I know my answer, but I want to let you do your answer and then I'll jump in if you don't.
Well, I don't know if you have the guy I'm thinking of. Are you thinking of OJ? Oh, you
I am.
Oh, okay. I didn't know because he's kind of a sleeper. But
huge sleeper. He's
signed
signed a 1-year deal.
He never really did it in Memphis. Never really reached
1-year deal. He's their best scorer outside of Dirk.
Probably best pure scorer on the roster. Yeah.
He's out of the limelight of Memphis of being behind Tony Allen because he's not a defensive player. So Tony got to play. Rudy Gay was a better scorer. Then you got the bigs there. You got Michael Conley. He's coming to a team that has no expectations. Really, I've seen some people next him out the playoffs.
I don't think they'll miss the playoffs. I think there's a ton of talent on that team.
I still agree.
I don't know how it's all going to fit together.
Plus, if
that definitely remains to be seen. If there's any sort of major injury to Dirk Nowitzki, they probably will miss the playoffs.
Well, not talking about playoffs. I'm talking about in terms of scoring-wise, where if Dirk goes out for a period, does his knee surgery that he's been postponing for quite some time now, OJ's going to be the guy.
Well, there are a few other guys not to sleep on here. Darren Collison, very capable of being the leading scorer on that team. Chris Kaman has put up big numbers from the center position in the back. To me,
Kaman knows his role. He's older. Collison's trying to establish himself as a point guard in this league, and to do that, you got to be a passer first, I think. That's why I never really take those point guards seriously, and Rose and Tyreek, if you want to call him point guard. I know they tried it for a little while, but when you're scoring first and then passing second, to me, that's not a traditional point guard role. And I think Collison likes to pass and run an offense. So I think he's not going to look for a shot as much unless Dirk goes out and you're forced.
Yeah.
Or maybe Elton Brantley's a team of scoring. Who knows?
You have to get a lot more minutes.
But I'm going to go false. I'm going to say OJ Mayo wins it regardless.
Wow. I think I go with Dirk still and say true on that one. He's still one of the most prolific power forwards in the game. Probably one of the most talented all around of all time.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and he's still got a lot of game left in him. I think I go true on that one, even though I do think O.J. Mayo's primed for a big season in Dallas.
Oh, absolutely. All right. You want to bang out a couple more?
I have nothing in front of me anymore.
What?
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
That's terrible.
All right, how about this one then? If we just want to go by statistics.
Yep.
I think it's pretty given that Serge Ibaka leads the league in blocks.
I was going to have a block question on here. I like that. You're out.
But will he average more than he did last season, which was 3.7? Can Serge Ibaka average more than 3.7 blocks per game?
Ooh, I'm going to go no. People figure you out after a while. And once you get that reputation, he's going to be fantastic. And the reason is people aren't going to try. They're going to see him there, and they're not even going to attempt. They're going to back away. It's the Bill Russell
That's a good point.
They're just not going to go to him because, hey, he's there. Mm-hmm. So the same thing with LeBron and chase down blocks. People know he has that ability, so they're just going to pull out and, go back to the three-point line.
Kind of like how you evaluate great cornerbacks in the NFL.
They're
not throwing that way because that guy's there, and that's why they don't have as many interceptions. I do like that point, which probably will put his blocks down this season. So I would agree with you on that false. 3.7 is a whole lot, too.
A whole lot of blocks.
That's a lot of blocks. That's like Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo area, and you can't expect to be there.
Them two had a baby.
It came to Serge Ibaka from
All right.
the Congo.
I got my last question, and we'll sign off. And we actually have a guest next week. We'll segue that after this question. But my last question to you is, Josh Smith will finally make his first NBA All-Star game.
Man, he deserves it, doesn't he? He has been very, very good for a long time, but Joe Johnson and Al Horford, those were the guys getting the All-Star nods in Atlanta.
He wasn't.
I think if he limits his jump shots this season, I think that's huge. That's something that Atlanta's been waiting on for a long time. We talked to their play-by-play guy a couple weeks ago on our preview for their division, and he said the same. The fans have been waiting for that. You know, I'm going to say true. This year, Al Horford's been in and out of the lineup. Josh Smith has been the face of that franchise for years now. And I feel like Atlanta fans were a little more enamored with him than they even were with Joe Johnson.
Yep.
I think with Johnson out of town, if they're able to still win a decent amount of games, he finally does make that All-Star team.
I agree, and I think he's going to, because even if they do their typical 500, which is kind of where they're hovered, 45-win type seasons, I think he still gets the nod because no one wants to send, only 4 teams into the All-Star game. They always try to get those odd guys out, and Smith is always up there in blocks, steals, rebounds. And I think his scoring is going to increase. And going back to your point, I think he is going to shoot less jump shots for the fact that they have more shooters on the team. They got guys like Lou Williams down there now. So he's going to have to play a more traditional role for his body style, getting in that paint. By design of the style of play they're going to have, he's going to be in the paint more, which is what you want. Same thing with LeBron. You want him in the paint. You don't want him chucking up threes.
And you want him to play off the ball more, but at the same time, he's also a sneaky, very good passer. Not many people appreciate how actually good of a passer Josh Smith is. But it's best case scenario that he's catching the ball on the fast break and then creating something like that rather than trying to do any sort of thing off the dribble against an even satisfactory defender.
Absolutely.
So is that it? Have we done it here? The True or False podcast has been completed?
It has been completed. So we'll do a little segue. Next week we're going to have our show on Thursday, I believe. I don't think nothing's going to prevent that.
I don't believe so. I'll have to get back to you on that, though.
And we might
I'll check my schedule.
Well, it also depends on our guests, because we're going to have a reunion on this show.
Yes, sirree.
We're going to have NBA Unplugged reunion with our good pal Brian Geltzeifer,
the former co-host of the show.
He is now with Sheridan Hoops, if you haven't been aware, you should be aware. So he's, he couldn't do this podcast because he does the Sheridan Hoops podcast, which I'm going to do a little leak. It's going to be airing, well, they've already recorded a couple of the Sheridan Hoops podcasts, and they have great guests from Coach K to Jerry Colangelo to Stan Van Gundy. So that's going to be the first podcast that's going to be aired, and I believe they're airing it next week.
Okay.
It might even be the end of this week, but they're going to be releasing it to the public. I haven't heard it yet. Can't wait to hear it because Brian's fantastic on the air. But he'll come join us. We'll talk a little preseason. We'll ask him some questions. We'll have a little fun. We'll talk about the Sopranos in New Jersey and everything else that we like to talk about.
Brooklyn!
Where's Brooklyn at? And that will do it for us here at NBA Unplugged. I'm Jacob Noble.
I'm James Bucklin, and we'll definitely see you next week with Brian Geltzeifer.
You just listened to NBA Unplugged. Brought to you by TheProBasketballTalk.com.